Okay, this video is for anyone who identifies with being in or working toward a conscious relationship. So, if you're not familiar with the term conscious relationship, you may be working inside of one and not even know it. But the way that I classify it is basically it means that you are like actively doing the inner work to understand that when the other in the relationship outside of yourself does something, says something, you find yourself in an experience with them where you start actually experiencing lower level vibrations like fear, anger, sadness, and you just take a few extra steps rather than assuming they're in the wrong to actually examine your internal world to start to understand, is this happening to me? Is this emotion coming out because of a past experience, past emotion that is still stored in my body, maybe from my own past relationships? And rather than getting upset with them or instantly defaulting to them being in the wrong, by taking that step, it allows you the opportunity to then heal that wound within yourself. And also just to make sure that you are not incurring any sort of emotional abuse from your perspective onto the other, onto your partner, based on pain that you are unconscious of that is not their fault at all. Now, there's so much more to conscious relationship, but I think that those two flavors essentially hit some of the main points that I'll be referencing in this video. So, if you're in any sort of relationship, right, we know that it is pretty much inevitable that the other in the relationship is probably going to do something, say something to you that incurs these lower level vibrations. Okay, it could be disgust, it could be anger, it could be sadness, anything that like makes you feel uncomfortable or just like bad, right? They do something, they say something, and you're like, oh, like I wouldn't have said that, I wouldn't have done that. What's going on in their head, you know? Like you just realize that you operate so differently. And the purpose of this video is really just to provide 3 things that you can start practicing that have really came to me naturally, I'd say, over the last few months, that have just been like diffusing those bad feelings and transmuting them into higher vibrations to get me closer to a state of love, which is ultimately why we're in the relationship in the first place, and really why we keep going on our healing journey with ourselves and also with them. So the first is when someone says something or does something and you're like, oh, I just think so differently, Remember what Ram Dass says. He says that all of us here on planet Earth in this physical plane, we are all just different trees, okay, as human beings. And if you look out of any window or any car ride, just take a moment to observe all of the trees you're looking at, and you will see how different they all really are. Every single tree has unique branches that spew off, right? They have unique inputs as it relates to how much food they get, how much sunlight they get, what is their past experience, how old are they, right? There's all of these different factors that make up that uniqueness of that tree, okay? And as we look at trees objectively, we don't say this is a bad tree and this is a good tree. We say, wow, these are all beautiful trees, right? I don't think I've ever looked at a tree and said, that's an ugly tree, okay? Same thing with the other in relationship. How can we shift from you versus me? I don't think that way. Why would they do that? XYZ to, wow, can I look at this human being as a beautiful tree that, yes, is different from me, but nonetheless gorgeous in all that they are? And that thought alone and that practice and really appreciating the differentiation of you versus me will help shift out of those lower level vibrations into those higher level vibrations closer to love. Now, the second thing that has been coming to me is anytime I feel the need to control by way of, the other maybe incurring, whether or not they even know it, a lower level vibration, is really affirming that I don't have to do anything and God will take care of it. Source will take care of it. Anytime you feel the need to control, that is, in my opinion, just it's just an indicator that you think in that moment that you are smarter or more intelligent than the universe. And we know that that's just not true. And when you're conscious enough to realize that, it is so relaxing of a thought to say, I don't have to do anything. God will take care of it. There's a reason you're in this relationship. There's a reason maybe you're triggered right now, but don't worry. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to act. You don't have to control anything. Take a quiet moment to yourself and just remember that God, Source, will take care of it. Now, the third thing that has helped me shift into higher vibrations is looking at the other and just getting conscious enough and quiet enough in that moment, staring at them really, and just looking at them and remembering that I am them and they are me. And we know that we are all part of this collective consciousness together. We are all here as a system. There is a reason that they are different. There's a reason that they think differently. And you probably wouldn't be there if everything was the same, right? There is a reason. And how can you love that person as yourself, even in those times of discomfort? So I hope these help. Let me know what you think of them. And of course, if you have any other practices that you've been loving, definitely share with me so we can share with the RTH community at large.